Hello everybody, this is RBR Short Films 13, aka Ryan, and today I'm doing a video basically celebrating uh, 5 years since Ghostface vs Jason. Um, yeah, 5 years. I went fast. It felt like yesterday I posted it on YouTube, um, and yeah, I think that was the first movie I made. Um, where my style of directing now uh, changed with that movie. I think I learned so much from the previous movies I worked on, and like what to do, what not to do as a screenwriter and director, like what to fix editing, all that stuff. And I learned a lot with the Destiny movies because they were such long films, and the two-parter and all the footage I had to go through. And yeah, so I learned a lot through that movie. So, um, yeah, I wanted to make another Ghostface movie, even though I so wanted to try to make other movies after Destiny of Ghostface Part 2, but I just couldn't. I was too much obsessed with Ghostface Scream still, and the storyline, and the character, and but I saw like the success of Avengers and Freddy versus Jason and all that, and I was like, that's cool. What if I did like a crossover slasher film, where Ghostface and Jason are fighting? Uh, and I didn't know exactly who Ghostface would fight. It was so weird. I remember getting the Friday the 13th box set for my 18th birthday. I remember getting it, and I rewatched all the Friday the 13th movies, and I don't know. And I believe I announced Ghostface versus Jason before I rewatched all the Friday the 13th movies. I think I knew I was going to get the box set because I remember when the box set came out. But I don't know. I was thinking of all the slashers that Ghostface could face, could fight, and I was highly considering Michael Myers. That was a big one. And I had other slashers, in mind, but I thought Jason was a really good opponent. And I know that it was like maybe a little far-fetched for people because Ghostface is like a regular person, Jason is like this, monster. He's supernatural, like it's Ghostface wouldn't really have much of a chance, But I wanted to be able to tell a good story and come up with good characters, and bring back that Friday the 13th nostalgia that you get like in the video game. I wanted to bring that back, that 80s vibe that's been missing for so long with the franchise. And then I wanted to, make Ghostface, like the Scream movies, but I also wanted to do something new at the same time, because I'm not Wes Craven, I'm not Kevin Williamson, and I wanted to do something different, but something that feels familiar at the same time. Uh, so I made it the most Scream-like movie compared to the first four Scream fan films I made. And it was basically the film was a transition. It was like ending the Ghostface storyline and leading into a new franchise, new series, new fan film series. And I thought about it'd be cool if I had a Friday the 13th fan film series because I love Jason Voorhees, that character, that story, Camp Crystal Lake, and I was very very interested in making a Friday movie. It intrigued me extremely, especially rewatching the films when even though I knew I was making GVJ, rewatching the movies was a lot of fun because I've always seen all the films, but I rewatching them like at 18, like just a few years later after not watching a lot of them for a while, it was nice to be reminded, like the whole storyline, because Friday 13th 1 through 8 has its own outline, its own storyline. So it was. I just remember enjoying that too, like the whole 1 through 8 story arc. It's interesting, and and then I love the first two Scream films, and I do like Scream 4. It's grown on me throughout time, and yeah, and I'm excited for Scream 5, which is called Scream. Uh, we're all excited for Scream 5. I'm so excited for that. But yeah, I wanted Ghostface to fight Jason, and even though I knew if Ghostface would lose, if he would lose, uh, that hopefully it would still be a good movie and people would still like it. Um, and I thought December 13th, 2015 was a good release date. I remember filming the movie in March of 2015, and I remember creating a rough cut of the movie and not being too happy with certain things. And other people weren't happy about some things as well. So I went back and did a lot of reshoots in the summer of 2015. Like that whole summer, I was doing consistent reshoots, and also add in scenes. So like the opening of the movie with Jason, that wasn't in the original cut. So much was changed. I mean, to where I could basically release an alternate cut of the movie. It's not nowhere near as good as um, the new version. And I even came out with a director's cut later on because I wasn't fully satisfied with everything. So um, yeah, but it was a fun movie to work on a lot. The reshoots were actually fun, even though that it was stressful. It was exciting, and I was learning a lot as a director and what went into reshoots and kind of redoing a movie yet not redoing a movie because I've done reshoots before in the past. I've had experiences, but not as many reshoots. I was kind of the director back in the day where I would be like, we're gonna shoot the movie and that's it. I don't care the outcome. Like if a scene is turns out bad or turns out good, as long as I get all the footage and I'm able to put a film together, that's all I cared about. Now I think a little differently about all that. So um, yeah, reshoots are very important to me because you can always improve upon a movie. I think it's always a good thing to do if the movie needs reshoots. It's never a bad thing, I don't think. Reshoots always enhance the film. Um, at least it did for this movie. And uh, yeah, oddly, the Miner versus Jason and Ghostface story, the sequel to this movie, which I started working on the script literally just like a month right after this movie came out. I wanted to work on the sequel right away and get the sequel out in at the by the end of 2017. It didn't come out till February 2018, but that was only 2 months after the original release date. So it was like So I needed more time on that movie for sure. But and even though I personally enjoy Ghostface Story a lot more, The Miner versus Jason, I love that movie, and that's my personal favorite over these two crossover fan films. But um, this was a big learning experience. This movie, and I don't think I'd be so much the director I am now without this movie. I think I needed to make a movie on this kind of scale and everything because I needed to learn. I don't know. It just I was always curious as what would it be like to do a crossover film, two slashers in one movie. What would that be like, and how do you pull that off? How do you not make it cartoony or goofy or jumping the shark? How what can I do to make it feel like it's a movie and it doesn't feel like a video game? Because you easily feel like you're watching a scene from Mortal Kombat or something, or you feel like you're watching a video game, and I don't want people to feel like they're watching a video game. So, which is why the action in those movies have a certain kind of structure to them. Uh, and Minor versus Jason, I was able to really do what I wanted to do compared to Ghostface versus Jason. But I didn't want the action in those films to feel video game like. I wanted it to feel very authentic. And even though it had to feel like blockbuster, style, and Jason had to feel supernatural, and I had to keep all those elements, I wanted it to feel very cinematic, which was very difficult. But now I've gotten around to playing the Friday the 13th video game, which is really awesome video game. Sadly, I didn't do an unboxing video. Sorry, guys. Uh, I'll show it anyway, though. Why not? Why not? Let me show it. Let me show it. Okay. Oh. All right. Look at that. Okay. Yeah. So just started playing it, and I've been enjoying it a lot. Um, so that's fun. Um, and yeah. So okay. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And thank you, subscribers, for just watching these videos. Like, I know that I can ramble on for a long time. It's 11 minutes. I know I've made 20-minute videos, and I think some of them have been 30 minutes longer, where I'm just talking. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of like live streaming and all that. So I kind of like just making a video by myself and then, be able to look at it and upload it. But yeah, these were very. I would say they are my favorite movies that I worked on, the Jason movies, because I really enjoyed making. Yeah, I loved telling these Friday the 13th storylines. I loved telling my own storyline of Jason and his whole story arc that he has from these two movies. Like, I gave Jason a storyline, even though it's a storyline that's been done before. I did something with his character, but I was still learning then. I was 19 when I filmed the movie, and I was 19 still when I filmed the reshoots. It wasn't till I was 20 where I was majorly in post with the movie, editing it. And I remember the movie was even better when I was editing the film after the reshoots. I could tell the reshoots did a lot, and I just consistently got better throughout the months. Um, and I'm glad that I gave myself time on that movie. I didn't rush it out, because that rough cut, definitely would not have it wouldn't have gotten the responses that the version that's come out now would be. And if the film wasn't 100% what I wanted it to be either. Um, and that happens, as a director, as a writer, you're not always going to get what you want. But I had more challenges with the writing aspect than the directing aspect. Um, and it wasn't so much the sequel to Ghostface versus Jason. Um, it I don't know. It just the script went through a lot of rewrites, and eventually I was just filming whatever. And then it wasn't until I put the movie together and looked at it and then went back and did reshoots and rewrites for certain scenes where I was finally figuring out what the movie should be. Um, sometimes you have to do that. You just have to film the whole movie, and then put it together, and then look at what works, what doesn't work, and go back and do reshoots. I think it's a very necessary thing to do with slasher films, or just a lot of movies in general, because you want You want the film to be as best as possible, because always filmmakers look back at their movies and they're like, oh, I wish I could have changed that or could have changed this. So yeah, reshoots are very important in my eye, and it's not a bad thing to me. Um, of course, the less reshoots, the better. Hopefully, I get everything that, perfect, almost perfect, when I'm filming the movie, mainly. But of course, if there's something wrong, I need to change something, and that in the script, um, I will, because I want these movies to be very good. And you're making a film about Ghostface and Jason, and these are some of the biggest icons, ever. Uh, and you don't want to mess that up. These are, and I learned throughout this movie what to do, what not to do with the Miner versus Jason and Ghostface story, which I highly recommend to check out after this movie. Um, yes, it's black and white. It was not shot in black and white. I colored it into black and white. People could say black and white converted, but I literally took a lot of time on the black and white. Like I would um, color the scenes, a certain way, the how it would look with the black and white. But then also I would add an old film effect to it as well, to give it that 1960s old film, kind of look. And I wanted that for this. And also the irony, it's called a Ghostface story. Ghostface's costume is black and white. His mask is white and his robe is black. His or cloak. I used to say robe, but now I'm starting to say cloak because now I know it's a cloak. When I was growing up, I would say robe. Um, but yeah, so think about it. The whole movie's black and white. How perfect, because it's called a Ghostface story. Ghostface, how he looks. It represents like like I don't know. It's like creating a tone for the movie. I don't know, it was very, I thought very deeply at an artistic level, with that stuff. So, but anyway, thank you for watching my video. Really appreciate it. Whoever's watched it this long, thank you. Um, and yeah, so hopefully you guys will check the movies out. Um, so yeah, check them out. And anyone who's never seen my videos, be sure to subscribe, or anyone who hasn't subscribed, subscribe. Um, uh, and please comment, like, I like when people are involved, like in comments and all that. It's cool when I get to hear people's responses about my videos and their opinions and all that. So, but yeah, happy 5 years of Ghostface versus Jason. But before you know it, it'll be 10 years and 15 years, 20 years. Man, just to think I was 19 when I made it, and it came out when I was 20. And now I'm 25. It goes quick. It really does. Sometimes people will say, "Oh, it doesn't go as fast as." I don't know. It goes fast. Yeah, because if it didn't go fast, I think I would. I don't think I'd be 25 yet. Or my brain would have processed those years in a much slower pace. It would have felt like 20 years, not 5 years. It feels like yesterday. It doesn't feel like literally yesterday, but a little bit. Maybe because it wasn't 20 years ago. Um, but yeah, definitely I've learned so much as a director from that time, and to do and what not to do artistically, which is so important that I pay attention to those things. So yeah, and also guys, check out Insane Cage of Madness Part 1 if you guys haven't. Sadly, that movie hasn't gotten a lot of likes and comments like my previous last 3, 4 movies. And all my previous films, oh, well, aside from Double Servant's actually done very well, but they were all fan films. and they all have a bunch of likes and views and comments, and I feel like that's because they're fan films. I don't know. I think people like what's been done, and they want to see that consistently, but through different artists' visions, rather than seeing um, new movies, new stories, new characters. And I love originality, and I feel like that this the world we live in now doesn't quite care about that as much. And that's really too bad, because movies deserve to be original and to have original characters and original all that. You want movies to um, in order for films to evolve, for cinema to evolve, you have to keep it original. You have to keep it like that. And I know so much has been done, but you know, yeah. And making fan films is fun. Making, it is. But I made a lot of those, not 100% because of, to get subscribers and all that. It's because I love those characters and those movie franchises. But also, yeah, I knew that I would gain a higher audience if I made those kind of movies. So when I would eventually make my own work, like um, nonprofit work, The Double Servant and Insane and all those movies, those original titles, um, people would check them out because of the previous movies I've made. And I noticed that back when I made the first Insane, or when I made the Jester films. Uh, those movies wouldn't have gotten any responses that they got had I not have made November 1st, November 2nd. So you realize, like, I learned a lot, like what directors probably learn in Hollywood, where they make a blockbuster film and it makes a lot of money, and it's a franchise that's already been done, it's a sequel, but it did so well the filmmaker was able to finally do his own original movie, and people gave it a chance because, oh, he made that movie. He directed that sequel, and that was the best sequel out of all the movies. So now I'm going to check out his own original movie, even though it may not look interesting to me, he or she. Their movie, um, I'll check it out anyway because of what they accomplished with that film. So I've learned that as well, where you sometimes have to do um, what has been shown and what people know for so long, and then do your own thing. Um, it's very risky to just go ahead and do your own thing without doing anything yet that's very known to people. So, yeah, much more challenging times as a filmmaker for sure. But I like challenges. So yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. Happy 5 years of Ghostface versus Jason, and I will talk to you all very soon. All right, peace.